Right now I'm on the verge of tears. The ending was so touching. And I find that no matter how many stories I've heard, how many stories I have in my own head and from my own family, just always makes me cry. And I thought the film itself was such a beautiful interconnection of three different stories. And I think the filmmaker did a mitzvah in creating this film and causing all these people to reconnect. Was that the question?
Perfect. And I have to agree with Deborah. It's like no matter how many of these films, and I've seen a lot of films, and how many stories I hear, I'm just always moved. I have actually been to Poland. I think Deborah has also been to Poland. And I was there with my father in 1994. And it was interesting. It's interesting to watch and see how the Polish people still react to what happened during the Holocaust and the tears that some of them shed, the honor that some of them give, and the denial that others have.
It's become a custom, a tradition, that when young people make some type of pilgrimage to Israel, that Poland is a step, a week, 10 days, whatever it is, on the way to their 4, 5, 6 week trip to Israel. They are coming to a Poland with lots of memories. What's your feeling about this? Do you think it's a good thing that we should be supporting the Polish government with these trips? Is it good for the kids? And have you yourselves taken your children, or would you ever do that?
I'm ambivalent. I have a lot of different thoughts about Holocaust education, especially now with the surge of anti-Semitism across Europe and here as well. I feel like I have three stories. I have my own story, I have my mother's story, and I have my father's story. And yes, I did take my son to Poland. It's now Belarus, where my parents were from. And I think it was a very good thing to do. He was already in his 20s and mature enough to appreciate what he learned there and how interested he was in this journey. It all started with Phoebe from Friends. Lisa Kudrow apparently spent some time working in London. Or
so that people know who Lisa Kudrow is?
That's Phoebe.
Phoebe from Friends. Everybody knows Friends.
Okay.
Anyway, I heard that she had brought to the United States a series called Who Do You Think You Are? And it was a series similar to Finding Your Roots. So I found her first episode in the Teaneck library, and I watched it, and it turned out that her great-grandmother or her family was originally from Belarus, and she went back and discovered what happened to her ancestors. And I watched the credits, and I found out the name of her guide when she was in Belarus, and I tracked down her guide and got in touch with this woman. Her name was Tamara, a Belarusian woman, and arranged this trip by contacting her. And it turned out she was pivotal in my mother's story because she had founded a partisan museum in Novogrudok in Belarus. And my mother, my aunt, and my uncle were all in the partisans, and I found she showed us records where they registered as partisans and where they came from and their birth dates and what they were doing when they entered the partisans. And I'm jumping around, I'm sorry. Anyway, as I was arranging this trip, in preparation, went through every single document and film I had collected, and it turned out I had so much material that I had a list of 25 or so different shtetl that I wanted to go to. And my husband and my son were both interested, and my sister and her husband joined us as well. And I can tell you a little bit more, but I want to give Phil a chance to talk.
So, being a child of Holocaust survivors, what happens is that, like, I had no grandparents. So there's like a chasm between your life now and where you came from and your ancestors. And so for me, I'm a Polish citizen, though not officially. I am a Polish citizen because I was born stateless in Europe, and my papers when I left Europe say you are Polish, and I have applied for Polish citizenship for myself and my children and my grandchildren, not for the same reason that Jeremy did, but for just to have alternatives in life. You never know what the future holds in store for us, and the Jewish history is a rough history. So we're going to hopefully get approved for that. But going to Poland was really, it helped me bridge that gap a bit, because I went to my parents' town. I went to the cemetery. I saw that there were few gravestones in the cemetery. My relatives' graves were unmarked. So I think films like this and any experience you have. I've not taken my kids to Poland. That was the question. I've not taken my kids yet, but I've spoken with them about wanting to do that. My grandson's being bar mitzvah next year. At some point when my granddaughter gets a little older, I think we'll make that trip, because it connects you back. It connects you to some degree, as much as one can, to see where they came from, to see what their villages, what their towns were like, to see what the people there were like. And I could talk for hours also about those experiences, because they're truly amazing. But I want to just say one thing about anti-Semitism in Poland. When I was there, and of course it was many years ago, but and maybe things have changed to some degree, though I'm not sure that they have. I spoke to several people, Jewish and not Jewish, in Poland, who said to me they don't understand why there is still so much anti-Semitism in Poland when there are hardly any Jews there.
Let me just ask one more question of you, then I'm going to let the audience ask some questions. So just staying with that, you walk through the streets of Poland and there are little dolls of Jews. You go to Krakow and there's an international klezmer Yiddish festival. Jewish culture seems to be rich, and yet how rich is it? And what's going on? What was your sense when you were both there?
Well, when I went back on my heritage trip, it was to what is now Belarus, but I did go to Poland as well, and I was at that Krakow Klezmer Festival. I think the bulk of the people who find themselves at the Jewish Community Center there have discovered that they have a Jewish background that they never knew about before. And I'm not sure what draws everybody. At the Klezmer Festival, it was held in a beautiful synagogue, I believe. And there were thousands of people in the street dancing. It was beautiful.
Mostly Poles.
Mostly Poles, yeah. There aren't that many Jews, percentage-wise. I don't know, I guess I'm ambivalent about a lot of things. I don't know what they think. I don't know what they feel. I'm not sure they know what they feel.
And Phil, especially for you going back with your dad, who had lived that, your sense, your feel.
So yeah, that was really special to spend that time with my father in Poland. I mean, it was a very emotional time. We went to Treblinka, we went to Auschwitz. We had some very moving experiences, particularly in a town where both my parents were from the same town, and there were 200 Jews that were herded into. This always gets me. Yeah. Were herded into a school, and the school was set on fire. My two uncles were killed in that incident. My parents' friend jumped out of a window. She was shot in the arm, ran into the woods, and she was saved by partisans. And there's an epitaph in Yiddish and in Polish on the wall of that school. We were taken there by a Polish man. We were looking for the school. My father didn't remember where it was, and it was late at night. It was like 9 o'clock. It was dark. A man lit a candle and walked us to the school. So that was like a very moving experience on the one hand. On the other hand, you mentioned, like little figurines. We were in Warsaw. They were having a harvest festival. And the head of the Warsaw Jewish Theater I had been to Kiev for a international conference in Yiddish and representing the Workmen's Circle. And so we met he was at the head of the Yiddish Theater in Poland, which is usually attended by Poles, not by Jews. Met us at the festival, at the Harvest Festival, and there were a lot of craftspeople there, and there were these statues that were carved out of wood of Polish peasants and Jews. And I actually bought one. I couldn't bring myself to bring one that was really a caricature. Like they had a guy holding a bag of money. They had Jewish klezmer musicians. He carved out Polish peasants with big bellies and pug noses. Jews all had big noses. I bought a shoemaker to take home as a souvenir. But while we were standing there, a woman walked over with her daughter, and my father heard her say in Polish, let's go look at the Żydus. And Żydus is a derogatory term for Jews. And my father, he just turned red. And the guy said to him, "Don't say anything because this happens all the time here." So it was a mixed experience being in Poland. It was very moving. It was eye-opening, and I felt a connection. And at the same time, it was very painful.